Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought that I would make a video in regards to my planner and some of the changes that I will be making for my planner and for the coming months and the rest of this year. So yeah, I'm not gonna waste too much time on the intro. I'm just gonna go directly into it. So a lot of you know that I've been using the ring bound system. This is the day timer system. Basically, day timer at a glance, sprinkled in with a few printable inserts in combination with that. And I have loved this, and I still very much so love this. But the dilemma that I'm having is that I want to do a lot of the things that I did when I was using my bullet journal, and there's just a slight bit conflict that I'm having, which is also making me make yet again another decision between the two systems because the compromise that I've been putting up with eventually will not be compromisable anymore because of the way that I'm doing things. And yeah, once you see what I'm talking about, it'll make a whole lot more sense. But let's dive in. Let's talk about, my inserts and all that good stuff. So as you can see, we grew from the start of this year. We have all these inserts. There's so much going on. The bulk of this planner that is used is primarily these inserts right here. Like this chunk is the most used, and then this would be the minus March. This would be like the second half of the or the next quarter, so second quarter. Basically, I use the heck out of my planners. And what I'm noticing lately is that the way that I'm using my planners is very bullet journal-esque. I know I'm probably going to get someone who watches this video that just says, well, why didn't you just use a bullet journal to begin with? Why even come to this conclusion to just say you're going back into a bullet journal? Originally, when I chose my ring bound system for this year, I solely just wanted flexibility and I wanted ease without having to sit down and set up my planner from month to month, week to week, and all of that stuff. Fast forward, I find myself slightly doing the same thing in my rings. And yes, convenience has taken its part. And convenience has also shown me that this does not need to be complicated. I'm also trying to embrace the fact that bullet journaling doesn't need to be complicated either, and that there are ways to definitely get around not having all of these pre-made up spreads that I'm so worried about not having if I should go back into a bullet journal. So again, I use the crap out of my planner. My sections that I primarily use the most is my fitness or wellness section, my reading section, and then of course my dailies, weekly and daily planning. That is where I am in the most part of, or in, that is where I am. Let me rephrase that. That is where I am in the bulk of all of this, primarily. And so it's been really hard to part ways with some of the things that I'm doing in here, because I know whatever I'm doing in here, I will have to then transfer that information into my bullet journal. And that is kind of a conflict, but I'm trying to mitigate some solutions to work around that, should that be a problem, or should I face that challenge. As of right now, I have used my planner a whole lot. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with this system. I absolutely, positively love this system. What is not working is what I've continued to do outside of my bullet journals, and I'm trying to do that in here, and that is what's not working. So I'll talk about some of the changes that I made first to see if I could get around some of these different things that were kind of hindering me in some areas. So if you guys remember, this is my health and wellness section. I wanted to have, let's see, okay. I wanted to have a goal planner. If you guys remember that. And I don't know if I still have the, oops, let me see. I'm trying to see if I still have the actual insert. I've got a bunch of things here that I will be using or that I'm playing around with. Okay. So I have these inserts here, right? So I basically had these inserts in here, and they were free, and it was a 90-day goal planner, and I had this within the section of my wellness. And when I was using this, you know, I really thought, okay, we're going to try this out and see how I like this. During this time, I wanted to really like jump into the Filofax. The Filofax is a more goal-oriented type of planner. It is something that is geared towards accomplishing productivity a lot. You know, it's more streamlined for accomplishing productivity. I think that's where I'm trying to say. My words are just getting a little jumbled up, but ultimately that's what it is. Nonetheless, I was trying to use this, and this did not suit the bill. Eventually, I kind of fell off from this because I didn't quite fully understand, and I'm out of frame. I didn't quite fully understand the like weekly habit trackers. This to me just, I didn't like it. I'll be completely honest with you. I just didn't like the bundle in itself. Do I think you could still use it? Yeah, I think maybe in a different era, a different way of doing this could definitely work out. But I didn't like it. And I also was slightly confused with the 12-week goal tracker. I don't know. It felt a little bit redundant. So I took this out. I definitely do like the fact that there is a quarterly goal, and then you can make a goal for each month, and then you can make your action steps for that goal that you are trying to accomplish. Obviously, I'm working on health and wellness, so I have health and wellness goals that I'm trying to accomplish each month. And so it would have been great had this worked out for me, but it just didn't work out for me in the way that I was using it. And so I ended up purchasing a printable that is a goal plan for the year. Now this one is more relevant to the Filofax because the Filofax also has a goal plan in the very beginning of the planner where you can write out your goals from career, physical and health, social, personal, mental, family, and financial, which I think personally for me, I need that guidance to help me break out the type of goals that I want to get into. So it just helps visually to have a section for it versus me trying to think off the top of my head, which I'm not really good at trying to break down goals. So I need that extra guidance. Hence why I was leaning more towards going back into a Filofax. So I got this. I got it so late at the end of February. Hence why it's not filled out. But I got this, and my intentions was to use this for the start of March, and just it's one insert. I have a couple in here. I don't have many. I think I have just like 4 or so in here. I have four or so in here just in case goals change, things change, then I can just, you know, tweak where I need to tweak. But outside of that, typically you only need this one insert. You only just need this one. Unless you have multiple goals in the same category, then maybe you could, you know, use a few. But ultimately, I just think you need one. But anyway, I have this insert in here, and I was really excited about this. But this didn't solve all the issues that I was currently facing with my rings. And we'll continue to go into that dilemma. Okay, so we're into books now. So So I absolutely love the Haru book tracker. This I use the most. I think that if I part with my rings, this right here would be the thing that I would very much so miss, because I use this a crap ton. As we see, I have currently finished 1, 2, 3, 4. I finished 4 books. I'm reading like 4 books also at the same time. I haven't written out the other ones, or I'm sorry, I haven't written out the other ones that I'm using or reading, but I currently have 2 that I'm currently in the middle of reading. And I love this insert. So if I move out of this, I have to mitigate what I'm going to be using to track all of my reading. Initially, when I set this up, I was set on, I needed to have this in one space in order for this to work. This is the part of my planner that is actually working, because if I want to keep track with my reading, it made more sense to have everything in a more central location within the same space or same binding as my actual planner, versus having 2 different separate books. So that could be a dilemma, but I'll show you how I'm going to be challenging that if I should get out of, or if I should move out of my rings at the start of March. Okay, so let's jump over into this section. Okay, so this is my tracking section. I have yearly trackers, monthly. So I hear my son. I have yearly trackers, monthly trackers. Is this monthly? Okay, so I have yearly, monthly, and then this is a project planner. I like having this for monthly. This part of my planner is definitely working. Just having a spot dedicated to tracking, though I think that there are some ways that I can mitigate that in a bullet journal with a few simple spreads that will let me see everything versus it split up like this. And it would also save space. So I started noticing that I needed to have a project section. So I ended up adding this bundle in here, and this is I added this for me to start using it for March. March is spring cleaning. There are a couple of home projects that I want to use. You've seen these on my channel before. I've shared them many, many times. They are from Wonderful Planning. They are free. So these aren't exactly new, but I like these. I like these so much. So these ones are for basically projects that you want to break down like this, where you have things that you want to buy for it and you can write your milestones. So I would say these are for your longer projects. Typically, like spring cleaning, house stuff, those are like some of my bigger projects, because we have a big house. We have approximately 5 bedrooms, a giant basement that is finished. We have every person has a bathroom. So there are 3 full baths with showers and tubs and toilets and sinks. And then there's 1 half bath, which just has the toilet and the sink. So our current house today, is huge. There are a lot of things that I want to do spring cleaning wise. So I know that would be a big project. So I wanted to include this into my planner. But when I put this bundle in here, I started noticing that, okay, I actually need to take out inserts. And the problem that I have with rings, and I think that a lot of people have with rings who use rings, is that we always want to have everything in the same space, and we're not willing to let go of some things. At least for me, I can speak for myself. I am not willing to let go of certain things. So that ends up being that my planner is overly chunky, and then it doesn't become comfortable to carry. Yes, I'll have everything that I need, but ultimately there's got to be something that has to be taken away from the binder itself in order for this system to work as a day-to-day planner. You know what I mean? So it's me, really. It's me and my compromise and my want and just the way that I'm going about things. But the actual system itself is fine. So when I added this in here, I quickly realized that, okay, when quarter 1 is done, I definitely need to reevaluate what am I going to do. When March comes around, I need to reevaluate, like, are we going to continue down this road? Because now the way that I'm planning and the things that I want to put into my planner are not really spanning out in the way that I want them to. They're kind of clashing. And you might hear my son. So yeah, I put this in here. So this one is like for longer projects, and then this one is for your shorter projects. And again, I was not willing to compromise and not having the entire bundle in there. Okay, so now we get into the nitty-gritty part. This is the part that I'm having the most conflict, but the most fun, but also the most conflict within my system. So I wanted to keep in. So I have a really, really hard time with removing used inserts. I know January has come and gone. I haven't referenced anything from January. So I really could just pull that month out. That's just a month that is finished, that is just sitting, right? But me, being me and knowing me, I like to flip through this stack, which I think that's the dopamine that we get when we use book bound planners or book bound journals, books in general. We just like to flip through them, and I think it's just more of a comfort thing and a satisfying feeling when you flip through your used pages and you see all the things that you've done, and it's just that dopamine feel that you get from doing that. For me, that is that's what I want from my planners. It also, and if I'm being honest, and you can disagree or agree, if I'm being honest, seeing the pages fill up and crinkle or fluff up is another thing that also helps you stay in your planners a lot more. So if it looks fresh and brand new all the time, then 9 times out of 10, you tend to just get bored and you just get drawn away from that, which is also another reason why I usually keep my inserts in until I'm ready to refresh everything. But yeah, with bookbound, you just get that feeling, that dopamine rush that every page is being used and it's fluffing up, and you just feel really good about, the way that everything looks, and it looks lived in, and that's what I want. I don't want my planners to look like I'm babying them. I don't baby my stuff really. So yeah, that's the only other thing, is that now I'm coming to terms with, eventually we need to start pulling things out to make this a little bit easier to close, to turn, to all that good stuff. And then February hit, and I do have a journal. The problem with that is I don't always touch my journal, right? So a lot of times I have my planner, and when I have my planner on me, I tend to, and I'm just flipping through February so you can kind of get an idea of like what the heck has been going on. When I have my planner, I tend to take all my notes in my planner. I tend to journal in my planner pages. I tend to memory keep a little bit in my planner. I tend to do a lot of the things that I did in my bullet journal in my planner. And it started with this picture here of Jasmine Crockett when I did this. And then I realized, this is what I did in my previous bullet journal, is that I was taking pictures from life events, and I was gluing them in here and I was journaling about them, and I started really missing that. And that is part of what I miss about my planning, and also what I'm missing about having a bullet journal, is that I could always just turn the page and continue the story from that day on the page. And here, I like having everything together. This definitely helps, but this is the conflicting part that I'm facing right now. I'm not willing to compromise by separating some of the things that I'm doing with having separate books. Having multiple planners does not work for me. I know, because I was testing this theory this month. So I'm going to show you my Passport Traveler's Notebook, something that I've been using alongside this, that ultimately, whenever I get in these positions where I need to make an adjustment to my planner or to my system or to my method of planning, I always test out things alongside something else to help me make the final conclusion of what I'm trying to get through. And I'll show you that. But as we're flipping through here, as you just basically see, there's a lot of blank. So I'm missing a lot of space, right? But then when I have very full and very, conjunctioned days like this, then I start doing things like this, where I'm taping in photos and receipts and journaling about it. And although this works, I end up having more stuff that I want to tape in and I want to put in. And I don't know, I'm just not the kind of person who's willing to compromise having, some of my sections just to have like a little journaling section where I can do all of these things in. I would rather just have my planner and my journal in one space and be together in a book bound, have all my months, use it for as long as I can use it, and then when that journal is full, then move on. A lot of times, whenever I try to go back into rings, I always try to give rings the benefit of the doubt. And this time I was really, really trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. Readjusting, tweaking inserts, changing things, moving things around, redoing things over and over and over again to make it work for me. And like I said, before you can officially just give up on a system, make sure that you've exhausted all the options that you have available to you before moving on to something else. Because 9 times out of 10, if you can change something and then that works out for you, then problem solved. Sometimes that solves the problem, sometimes that doesn't. In my case, it isn't quite solving the problem. I absolutely love my ring bound system. However, there are things that I'm doing that are conflicting with this type of system, because what I'm doing does not fit into this type of a system. So it's better to have it in a book versus in these rings. If I was bullet journaling in here, maybe. If this was just blank paper, maybe. But it's not, and there are different sections in different areas of this planner that I can see being neglected or overlooked, or not neglected, overlooked. That's the same thing. But basically what I'm trying to say is I can just see areas of this planner becoming less important to me, and then I can just see myself spending more of my time in other areas that I want to be full in, and I want to have everything flow cohesively. I don't want to just be, I'm here in the daily section all the time because this is where my plans, this is where my memory keeping is, and then I just start forgetting that, oh yeah, I have trackers, oh yeah, I have a project planner, oh yeah, I want everything to be kind of like together, if that makes sense. Which is why I went into rings, because I wanted everything together. And sometimes you got to do stuff like this to kind of come back to the conclusion of you had everything in a bullet journal. Whether or not you could compromise between drawing out layouts or whatever is solely up to you, whether you're willing to compromise. If I'm willing to compromise and print pages, then maybe I could compromise and just draw out the things that I need. So we'll get to that. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is the kind of gluing in stuff, that is going to become a big problem as time goes on, because I currently have a entire, not this stuff, this stuff here, that's neither here or there. I have an entire stack of paper that, as you can see, is thick. I have an entire stack of paper worth of stuff that I want to add to my planner, my journal, and stuff like that. And that is going to add an enormous amount of bulk if I do that in here to some system that is already incredibly bulky to begin with. And especially if I'm being stubborn with the way that I have everything set up and I'm not willing to compromise on what I'm willing to get rid of. Eventually, I know that Q1 will be taken out, and I'm prepared to take out Q1. But the way that I like things and the way that I'm so picky with things, it's just like, I won't take out Q1 till March is finished. And then if March is finished, then I'll take out Q1, archive those, and then Q2 will be in there, and then Q3. And then I'll have like 2 fresh new quarters. Everything will be brand new again. I know it's, why are you torturing yourself and doing this to yourself? But that's just the way my brain works. So yeah, I did do some different things for March. So March, first of all, for February, I had decided to try out the at a glance day on 2 pages. I don't care for these that much. Basically, the only things that I like is I like the note section, though I prefer the day timer note section. Ooh, I'm sorry, I keep bumping you guys. I prefer the day timer note section, but I like that this one doesn't have the numbers, so I like this one. I like the fact that the to-do list is bigger and that there is an expense spot down at the bottom. I don't care for this schedule. I much prefer having a full page for the schedule. This is just a personal preference. I don't like jumbling everything up over here. So yeah, but I decided that I was going to try it again just to confirm, because like I said, I paid for these inserts and I didn't technically want to waste them. If I end up not staying in my rings, I won't be wasting my inserts. I will be gifting them. I will be giving them away. And they will get good homes. But for the time that I'm in them, I want to utilize or get as much use out of them before coming to that conclusion. So for March, I had decided that I was going to go back into a month on 2 pages. I've been using the month on 1 page for quite some time. Wanted to try out the month on 2 pages yet again. So I got the month on 1 page for February and January. And then for March, I took out the month on 1 page and put in the month on 2 pages. And then I swapped the weeklies. So if you're not familiar, this is what the weeklies that I have in here now. They are basically a week on 2 pages, and they have like little times down at the side. These are also from Day Timer. And these they're the Kathy Davis illustrated version. So I had those, but I was kind of bored with those. So I wanted to try something a little bit different. And this just reiterates and just always confirms that why do I keep trying to do stuff that that I eventually run away from? Because in a bullet journal, hence you create the spreads yourself, and you have the ability to do this freely and to lay everything out freely. So why do I keep trying to push myself into a direction like this where everything is more but just not structured, but more laid out for you and predated for you? Why do I keep doing this to myself? Convenience, saves me time. I don't have to do a whole lot. Like with a bullet journal, you know, you're drawing. Again, it comes with a compromise, but nonetheless, I had put in I printed, first of all, I purchased this from Haru Plans. It is a week on 1 page, so it's like the Hobonichi style. It's a week on 1 page, and then it is with the note, and basically all I did was use some stickers to kind of date it like the just use some stickers to kind of date it like how these weeklies are dated. So where you have the big numbers here, I really like this because, again, it just helps me see what days I'm working with. And also when I'm flipping through, I'm able to see which week I'm looking at, like day wise, like what days are in that week. So I did the same thing for this. I put the days 3 through 9 here for March. And then this is week 10. So I just used some stickers to kind of date this so that they were nice and clean and they didn't look sloppy. And I did that for all of March. And then I print out some more of these gold pages. I only ended up using 1 for February, but I have 4 in here for the month of March. They're front and back just in case if I have more things that I want to do. And then I have the dailies. Again, the dailies are the same as for February. So that is what March is looking like if I decide to use March. Now, I really am excited about this weekly. I was really excited when I put this in here, and I was thinking to myself, this might be the make or break deal that might make me reconsider what I'm doing in my daily pages and maybe use this section here to do like micro journaling. I'm not big on micro journaling. I don't know much about that. And the way that I like to do things, I'm very, I guess you could say I'm stubborn in that regard, but nonetheless, this is where I'm at with my planner. I've got a couple of days to decide what I'm going to do. If I can't come to a conclusion, I'm going to keep using my rings because it's not that it's not working. It's just that there are things that I'm doing that will eventually clash in the future. And I want to make it as easy as possible on myself. And also, I want to carry my planner. I haven't been carrying it. I've been carrying other things because that is a lot easier to carry than my heavy planner that I've, fattened up here. So with my bullet journal, all my videos end up being really long, and I'm so sorry for that. All my bullet journals, all my planners, I kind of test out different things all the time. So like when I was saying I was testing something alongside my personal rings, I was testing this out because I was considering maybe moving into a traveler's notebook, maybe something that was not totally a bullet journal, but was kind of set up so that I didn't have to necessarily draw out months or draw out weeks and things like that. So I was considering maybe going full head or headstrong in this one, which is just a passport that I was just playing around with. And it started out just the booklets, but then I ended up putting my wallet in here and noticed or found that I was starting to use it a lot more the more that I carried it everywhere with me, because I was carrying it in my bag and I was carrying it around the house and all of that good stuff. So I was noticing there are major differences to how I use my stuff when I'm able to carry it around with me. I carried my previous bullet journal everywhere. So when I can throw things into my bag and I don't have to worry about the planner being too big to carry, then I'm more prone to use my things more. So I was thinking about maybe not necessarily passport. Passport was just the big enough size that I needed just to try out a couple of things. But I was thinking primarily along the lines of like maybe a personal or even an A5 or a standard. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've been in traveler's notebooks, but I was thinking maybe a standard traveler's notebook if I decided to make the transition between my rings and this. So I've already shown this. But I also sewn in some strings. I just sewn them through the stitching of the books so that each book now has its own little bookmark. Isn't that cool? But nonetheless, I was thinking to myself that I could actually use this, and actually I found myself really enjoying using this. I'm just using like a very fine point nib, and I was really enjoying this a lot, more so the weekly. Found myself really liking the simple weekly, just, you know, using simple weekly, doing my thing. But where I really found joy is when I decided to, let's just bullet journal like I would in any book in the back. And yeah, this is what I've been doing. This is everything that I've been doing for the start of February. And though I think that, you know, this is fun to carry around with me and to use outside of the house, ultimately, I still can't do all of my little journaling. I can do small journaling in here, but I can't do like all the picture type stuff that I want to do, because this would bulk up and get ultra chunky, because there's my wallet, then these extra booklets. I don't know. I have a lot to compromise with. And the way that I like to do things, I end up bulking things really bad. The A5 size is great because I get to use some of that stuff, but everything is essentially in one book. And this is already, as you can see, it's already chunky. So if I start doing all of my journaling and memory keeping in this book here, it's going to fluff up, and this is going to fluff up. And then I'm going to have this ultra big traveler's notebook. And today is my birthday. I hate the way that I did this, so I'm going to probably cover this and rewrite it. But nonetheless, yeah, I really like this. So what did I decide? I might move my wallet back out of this and just use another like zip wallet. I keep bumping you guys. I'm sorry about that. I might use another zip wallet. I might just purchase a little wristlet wallet, which will be convenient. This is very convenient to have, but again, I can't use 2 bullet journals. That just sounds redundant. So if I come to my final conclusion, I purchased for my birthday a Leuchtturm 411. And you guys know I do my little modifications. I put a patch on it. I super glued this little rocket ship on one of the bookmarks to be a charm, because it was like one of those little pins. So I just broke the pointy thing down, shaved down the edges where it was sharp, and then glued this on with super glue. So I have a charm. And I've been setting it up. It's taken me some weeks just to get what I've gotten here, but I've been setting it up. So I put my name in here. I put a picture of myself in here like I have in my planner. I put a picture of my current favorite artist to date, Kendrick Lamar. He's always been my favorite artist, but for Black History Month, he was the highlight artist, and right now he's the highlight artist. So he is rewarded a spot in my new bullet journal, like Sabrina Carpenter was awarded a spot in my other bullet journal. And then so far what I have in this book is just like a note to self. So in this first little page that's up against this blank, I decided that I'm just going to write a note to myself, like something encouraging to myself for the start of this bullet journal. Then I have my future log, which I have not written in the dates or the months, because if I don't end up using it in March, then that means this is a partially set up bullet journal. And then I took the easy route. Instead of counting boxes and all of that stuff, I pulled out my stencils, and I used my stencils to draw monthlies. The only reason why I don't like that sometimes is because, as you can see, these boxes are incredibly small, and there's a whole lot of empty space around that could be used to make a bigger monthly. But like I said, I never have time to do much of anything. And a stencil was the easiest way to go. So I use a stencil, and I think I only have, I want to say 6 months, maybe 6. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I only have 6 months in here. I doubt that a book like this would carry me 6 months. This is the 411 page book, so it's thick. Just like the Moleskines expanded, only this is the Leuchtturm expanded, right? In the back, what I ended up doing is taking one of those cheap, very cheap traveler's notebooks that I got off of Amazon, and I ended up putting it in the back. And this is where I'm thinking I'm going to do all of my book stuff if I move into this for my bullet journal. I'm thinking maybe possibly I'm going to put all my, like, all the books that I'm reading. This will be my book. Though in a separate book, it is tucked in the back. And that kind of makes it a part of the actual bullet journal, if that makes sense. So if I do finish this bullet journal before finishing this spreads that I do in this, then I could just easily take this book out and then put it in another bullet journal, right? Essentially. So, and then these books are only like $3. They're maybe like 3 and some change off of Amazon for like, I want to say you get 2 in a pack. So it's blank paper, and I'm thinking maybe to just like do what I was doing in the back of my A6 Leuchtturms last year when I kind of just drew out. I made a list of all the books that I was reading, and then I kind of just did like the little stars and reviews for all the books that I was reading. So I'm hoping maybe, and I'm thinking maybe I could make a tracker spread for progress in terms of like how much I've gotten through certain books and how often I've read, because like I really like having that part in my not my bullet journal, sorry. I really like having that part in my rings where I have a section that essentially tells me, you know, like this is how much you've read this month. As you can see, I've read a lot for February. And then I like having this visual here where it shows me, okay, and then this is all the books that you have currently read and what you're reading and the progress. So I like having this insert. I love this insert. So maybe trying to manipulate this insert to be a part of, you know, this book. Okay, I hope that, I know this video is long, but I hope I was very informative in explaining the changes that I am considering making to my actual planner, because ultimately if something stops working, you have to figure out, you know, like what can you do to make it work for you. I am all for using your stuff. But y'all know I love Leuchtturms, and it was my birthday, so I treated myself. So I dipped in the cookie jar for the cash. But primarily what I have is, you know, stuff that I have. Like I already had this lying around. I already had these books, this cover. I had this already. So that wasn't something that I just bought just to try. And a lot of this I purchased with money that was gifted to us. So I don't feel like anything is wasted. A lot of these printables I had already. Like I had these printables already on demand. So I don't feel bad about some of the things that I would be leaving. But I definitely feel that plans just change, and sometimes you try everything and it just doesn't work, and you just have to make the change that you need to make. But that's just it. That's life. So yeah, I hope that it was informative. I hope that you guys liked the video. And yeah, that's really all that I have for you. You guys know that I'll keep you updated with every change that I make to my planner, whether or not I decide to jump into my bullet journal or whether or not I decide to stay here. I love both so much. I love these two. But ultimately, I know for a fact that I can't keep up with both of these at the same time. Something would get left behind eventually, or I would get stressed out between trying to keep this one updated and then trying to keep this one updated. I know this about myself. So that's why it's so hard to make the final decision as to, are you staying here or are you going here? I'm going to finish out February in this. I'm going to finish up the current books that I'm reading, and then I'm going to archive. If I do move out, I'm going to archive what I've done, so that way I have record of everything, and then that way nothing gets left or lost like it did in previous years. So that's what I'm thinking. But I'll let you guys in on all of those changes when they do happen, if they happen. So again, I thank you guys so much for taking time out of your Sunday to watch. I'm going to try to enjoy the rest of my birthday, and I will see you guys very soon in the next planner related video. Bye, loves.